This is a topic that is very close to me. The topic is how time smooths out rough edges with brand. You can make so many mistakes, and if you keep going, time smooths out those mistakes, and people are more likely to just remember the good parts, unless you do something horrific that sends you to jail. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because that's the last that people will see of you, and then it's over. But generally speaking, time smooths out all the rough edges with a brand. And I'm going to give so many examples on this episode. This really is so close to me because I see so many people, and I saw this for myself years ago. Before I realized this, I saw this for myself, that people are so quick to give up, and it drives me crazy. I'm like, don't you get it? If you just keep going for a year or two, time will smooth out these problems that you are facing now, and then you'll be in a good spot. For different things in my life, it took me years to figure it out. And if I hadn't kept going, I wouldn't have gotten success. Time smooths it out. So I'm going to give some examples right now. It is a marathon, not a sprint. You are running for a long time. You are not trying to sprint to a goal. I think people who treat brand building like a sprint, they get overworked, they get burnt out, they get tired, and they stop. And then it's over, and you've lost. And you have freaking lost. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You get so many chances with a brand if you just stick with it. That's something else that people forget. So myself, I make flops all the time, every week. I make so many videos that flop. In fact, actually, I think there's a video from 2 days ago. Let me tell you this story. I want to tell you this story. Let me tell you the story. I got to tell you the story. This was from 2 or 3 days ago, and I made a video about Charlie Munger. And he was asked, before passing away, this was last year, he was asked what he would like to have on his tombstone. He said, "I tried to be useful." And I made a video about that, and how a video of mine that went viral got 1.8 million views on Instagram. It got 5 million on TikTok, but 1.8 million views on Instagram. I had another video that didn't go viral, but it still did well. It got 96,000 views on Instagram, so 19 times less the views. The viral video was entertaining. It was the story of the famous Microsoft wallpaper. And the video with 96,000 views was just useful. It was me sharing pricing tips that make people more likely to buy. The useful video, 19 times less the views, but 150% the followers. It got me 150% more followers than the viral entertaining video with 19 times more views. And I tried to be useful, and the data suggests that trying to be useful gets results. And so I made a video about this, just like how Charlie Munger said, I tried to be useful, and trying to be useful gets results. And I made a video about this. I thought it was such a good video. I went through, I think, 2 reshoots on that video and 1 script rewrite. It was an ordeal. And then I put it up, and I thought it was such a great video. I thought it was going to hit, and it completely flopped. Completely flopped. And you know what? That happens to me once every couple of weeks. I'll put in all this work in a video, think it's going to be a great video, and then it flops. But several times a week, I will have videos that I think are going to do very well, and they just don't. But I don't put in as much work, but I still think they're going to do well. They flop. They don't do well. And then I have videos that do very well. And here's the thing about the flops. No one sees them. Very few people sees them because the algorithm stops pushing them out if they're not hitting the engagement metrics. Because they're flops, they're not good, and they're not hitting the engagement metrics, so not that many people see them. And then I have videos that are great, and those hit the engagement metrics, and they get pushed out by the algorithms, and everyone sees them. And what do people remember? They don't remember the flops because they barely saw the flops. And even if they did see the flops, they watched it for a few seconds before scrolling away and just not even thinking about it. But then those entertaining videos, those are the ones that get pushed out to everyone. Those are the ones that people stick with and continue to watch. And that's what they remember me for. Time smooths out all rough edges. That's what I'm saying. Time smooths out all rough edges. So if you are diligent, if you are smart, and if you are thoughtful, people are going to see this over time. Your brand could be a product or it could be a service, and the same thing applies. If you are diligent, if you are smart, if you are thoughtful, over time, people are going to see that. Now, if you have a few flops in a week and you give up, that's what people will remember. They will remember you tried something for a little bit and then you gave up and you're lame. But if you keep at it, you get better, and then people remember you for the good stuff. Time smooths out all rough edges with a brand. When you keep going, you get repeated exposure. People remember what type of person you are. So don't be afraid of making a mistake because you get so many chances. Here's another example. My growth on Instagram. I talked about this on a lot of episodes, but for the first 8 months, I was at a few thousand followers. And that was because I didn't know that Instagram doesn't like it when you post with shared IP addresses. I was posting with a third-party republishing tool that used a shared IP address. So lots of people using the republishing tool, they shared an IP address with me. I shared an IP address with them. It's the same thing if you use a VPN. VPNs use shared IP addresses. And because I was posting from this shared IP address, my reels did not do well. I probably missed out on a year of growth because of this. A year of growth. And if I had given up, I just would have gotten a few thousand followers and that would have been it. But I kept going. It took me over 8 months. I think it was actually 10 months or something. It took me a long time, but I kept going and then I figured it out. And now I'm growing very consistently. I'm at 53,000 followers because I kept going. Time smoothed out the mistake that I was making every day. And it took me a bit longer than other people to realize the mistake that I was making. But then I realized it, I corrected it, and now I'm growing. Time smoothed it out. People don't give themselves enough time. People are so impatient. Drives me crazy. Time smooths out all the rough edges with a brand. How about SEO? Some of my best performing pages with search engine optimization, they were crap at first. They did not do well. They would get to maybe position 15, position 25. And I thought that these pages were so good. And I would look at these pages and I would revisit them every month, every 2 months. SEO is way more of a longer game. SEO is really time smooths out all the rough edges. But I would look at these pages and then I would see, oh, you know what? The introduction is bad. The introduction loses people's attention. Let me change this first sentence. Okay, let me throw in the keyword with this variable in this position. Let me put in a synonym for the keyword halfway through the article. Okay, and then I would update it. I would resubmit it to Google Search Console. I would wait and then I would see it improve. But I had to give it a few tries before it improved. And I've had that with so many pages with search engine optimization. Even if you're just starting, you might be afraid that people are going to laugh at you. If you're doing it on social media, for example, you might be afraid that people are going to laugh at you. And maybe they will. And here's what happens with time. You learn, improve, you slowly get bigger. And those same people who laughed at you, they now feel FOMO. They have a fear of missing out because they're not associating themselves with you. And this has happened to me. They had a chance to associate themselves with you and they didn't. And now you're big and now they're seeking your validation. This will happen with hot girls. This will happen with cool guys. This will happen with whoever. But it happens with me and I've seen it. And these people who looked at me posting all the time, now they actually DM me and they say, you're getting so huge. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. Congratulations for all your success. Just out of the blue, just hoping that I will respond because I'm the one giving them validation. It's weird, but it's what happens if you just keep at it. I really believe in my heart of hearts, I believe that nobody is so stupid that with enough time they couldn't figure it out. But I also know most people are too impatient. And hopefully if you are hearing this and you are thinking about giving up on something where success is entirely up to you. Now it's different if you have co-founders. That makes it so much harder. If you have co-founders and you have to depend on somebody else and maybe they're juggling all these different things and they're not focusing full time on this one thing, that's completely different. If you give up on that, it is what it is because you have to depend on someone else. That's so much harder. But if it's something that just depends on you, or maybe you have an employee and you can pay them, you can fire the employee, you can get a new one, you can keep trying that. That's all right. But if it's you have a co-founder and you're depending on that co-founder, that's different. However, if it's something that entirely depends on you and you are considering giving up, I hope you hear this and you think, you know what? I haven't given it enough time. There are probably tons of things that I don't know about what I'm doing and other people can do it. And so I can do it too. That's how I always think. I look at other people. I say, that person can do it. I can do it. There's so many instances where if I gave up, I wouldn't have been successful. And then I would have bounced around to something else. And I would have given up too soon on that other thing. And then I would have tried something else. And I would have given up too soon on that other thing. Just playing the lottery like an idiot. You stick with something, time smooths out all the rough edges. And it's especially true with brand because people don't remember you for the flops. They remember you for the successes because as you keep going, you get more and more successes. I'm going to end with this quote. It's from one of my favorite newsletters, the first 1000 newsletter. The newsletter used to be about how brands got their first 1000 users and customers, specifically tech brands. And now it's more about conversion rate optimization. And this person, his name is Ali Abulata, I believe, for the first 1000 newsletter. He shared things that he noticed about doing the newsletter for many years. And what he wrote is, the other big realization was that for long-term subscriber growth, long-term newsletter subscriber growth, almost nothing mattered except writing more consistently. But I don't think this is because consistency is a magical formula for building an audience. What a higher publishing cadence does, so he was saying send out a newsletter every week. What a higher publishing cadence does is it acts as a forcing function to explore different ideas. The more variant ideas I explored, the better I understood some of the underlying principles governing them. Ultimately, these more universal principles were more interesting to explore and write about, but they took a few layers of exploration to unveil themselves. And that's the quote, it takes time to figure things out, but you do, and you figure things out, and then people remember you for figuring it out and for all the insights that you provide or the great feelings you provide, whatever your brand provides. But most people are too quick to give up, and I hope that now that you have heard this, you will reconsider if it's something that you were thinking about. Or if you were planning on keeping going, I hope this will motivate you and just make you feel excited about where you're going to be in 6 months from now, where you're going to be in a year from now. I don't even know where I'm going to be in 6 months from now. I can't even predict where I will be in a year from now. But I know that by keeping going, I know that by just putting out videos every day, working on my brand every day, I'm going to be in a crazy place a year from now. And I'm already in a crazy place. I can't believe where I am. It's so motivating for me, and I hope it's motivating for you. This is episode 327 of my daily digital marketing podcast, The Edward Show. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Give yourself a bit more time. Thank you so much. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.